Good morning, traders. Welcome back to Price Plan Profit, where we trade with structure and not stress. My name's Melissa, and in today's video, I'm breaking down my morning watch list and showing you how I plan trades before the market opens so that I can avoid FOMO and trade with confidence. So, where I like to start is I like to look at the major four indexes, the ES, the NQ, the Russell, and the YM, and just get an idea if they're up, if they're down, or did they simply just trade sideways overnight. And I can see that overnight last night, all of the four major indexes basically moved absolutely nowhere from the closing bell yesterday. Next, I like to look at what Bitcoin is doing, as well as oil futures, gold futures, and of course, the bond market. As far as those things go, oil's up a little. Gold is definitely leading the charge here, and bonds are still looking great. So, that gives me an overall view of the market and gets me in the right mindset as to am I going to focus on positions to the upside, downside, or exactly where my focus will be. With this data today, I can see that there's not a lot going on. Next up, I want to know, are there any economic events coming in today that could change the trajectory of the market? So I use Forex Factory's calendar. It has a lot of detailed information. Today is Thursday, June 5th. So I'm going to scroll down here. And what I'm looking for is the data that's coming out related to the US dollar. The red folders indicate data that could have more impact on the stock market, and I can see at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, unemployment claims are coming out. Other than that, there's not any high impact economic data coming out for today. So at 8:30 a.m. unemployment claims that could change the trajectory of the market. Of course, that happens pre-bell. All right, next up, I have my watch list of tickers that I will watch for the day trading, and this watch list has a variety of different sectors represented on it. These are names that are liquid that I like to day trade. And so what I want to do is I want to look in this mark percentage column and see, are there any names that are clearly standing out as outperforming the overall market? The first thing I see is that Google is up 1.22%. That is interesting. It is outperforming the market. So then I'm going to take a look at Google on my chart, starting from the top down approach again, looking at a weekly chart. And I can see that Google has supply up above. It has been up here to test this a couple of times. Any level, the more it's tested, the higher probability is that it can be broken. So I always pay attention to that. Then I'm going to move down to a daily time frame chart and see where Google is in relationship to my supply zones and my demand zones. The supply zones are the red rectangles that you see on my box, and demand zones are the green rectangles on my box. I can see that Google is sitting right here on top of demand, and it is currently under the 9 EMA. So interesting there, but there is definite potential to the upside in a play on Google. Next time frame chart that I like to pay attention to is the 4-hour chart. I can see that this 168.31 Google has pushed above that price, and now I would expect that to be support. My most immediate resistance is up here at 171.54. 173.52 and 176.77. So if I were to take a day trade on Google, these would be areas that I would need to know that there is resistance there. The time frame chart that I like to use for my targets, both to the upside and downside, is the 2-hour chart. I like this because, sorry, because it typically gives me reasonable targets both to the upside and downside, depending on which direction I'm going to trade it for the day. So I can see that Google is coming up into the golden pocket of this recent down move, and that is resistance. So where price is at right now, I would expect some resistance from 170.41 to 171.62. But if bulls can push price above 171.62, then I believe the target for the day is 173.48 by 175.77. Once the market opens, I like to use a indicator that is very popular in the trendy trading room here at Simpler Trading. It's called the PMZ. It's an indicator that shows on the screen as a cyan or red rectangle. It's very simple to use. When price pushes above it, we're looking to go long, trimming at areas of resistance above. Or if price goes below it, we're looking to go short and trimming at areas of support below. Now, this will not pop up on my screen until 5 minutes before the bell. But I do have some labels up top that will give me the estimated values ahead of time so that I can plan my trades out. So I'm interested in going long Google today, and I can see that above 170.43 is a trigger long. So throwing my day trade uh, workspace up here, 170.43 would be my trigger long. My first area to take profits is going to be 171.36 by 171.62, and then again targeting 173.48 by 175.77. Now, if I were going to take a trade to the downside on Google, that trigger short right now is showing up at 170.32, and I would be trimming 169.20, and then in this area of 168.30 by 167.70, that would be my next target to the downside, followed by 166.11, and then finally the ultimate target to the downside today for Google is 164.64. So that gives me a trade plan on Google. As far as my risks go for this trade, I prefer a 50 cents to a dollar risk on the trade. And so I will set my stop according to that 50 cents to a dollar using a level, since I'm talking about going long Google, using a level on the chart that just makes sense, a technical level. I'm not going to stop out due to a dollar amount, but rather I'm going to use a technical level. So I can see Google gained some momentum at about 6:30 this morning, and then it came back to test this 169.20, but kept moving to the upside. So that 169.20 would be my stop on a trade to the upside as of right now on Google. If price continues up pre-market and my trigger long changes, then I will come down here to this area that was tested on a pullback, and I would change my stop to 169.76. All right. Now I'm going to look for another name that I would be interested in trading today for day trades. AVGO looks good, but they do have earnings tonight, so I'm going to stay away from that one. I know that Hims is a name that I watched yesterday for day trades, and it is right near demand on higher time frames. So that name is one that I am considering for a day trade today. You can see here we have demand down near $52 on the daily chart. Then we have demand again at $52 on the 4-hour chart. This orange line on my screen represents today's range that I am expecting HIMS to trade between unless price breaks above or below them. So that range is 53.50 by about 58.50, $5 range there. As price is down lower in this range, this is where I'm looking for buyers to step in, and it's a place that I would look to go long. So if I can get a possible entry down near 53.50, that would be great for how I like to trade. So now let me go to that 2-hour and give you the actual levels that I would be looking to trade. A upside target 61.17 to 67.42 and a downside target of 52.24 by $49. For the downside, I am not as interested in day trading HIMS to the downside where price is at right now, because from a risk to reward perspective, the reward just isn't there. Because I have demand just below price, my bigger reward is playing this name to the upside. So I will focus my energy on planning a trade to the upside on HIMS. So now let's talk about that. Right now, the trigger long for this name is $54.19. Above 54.19, my most immediate resistance is going to be these topping wicks and this inside and down candle formation. I'm going to put a line there. So my first area of resistance on the way up for HIMS would be 54.69. Above there, I'm looking for 56.24, then 58.37, followed by 60.09 before it makes it to my target zone of 61.70 by 67.42. As far as downside goes, if you were interested in trading HIMS to the downside, below 54.14 is a trigger short, but you do have an area of resistance just below here that if I were short, would trim at, and that's going to come in at or around 53.67. Target to the downside for me, 52.24 by $49. So now that I've found two names to focus on for day trades, I can come and look at maybe a name that is trading below the market, right? So if you look here at Tesla, they are currently down 2.23%, whereas the NQ and the ES are flat. This is an underperformance that we have going on here for Tesla. So I'm going to pull Tesla up, start on those higher time frame charts to give me an idea of what Tesla is doing from a top-down approach. I can see here that I have the 38.2 Fibonacci level down near 319. That is an area that I would be expecting support, as well as this weekly cloud. That this is a EMA cloud, and the top level is the 9 EMA. That's down near 316 to 315. So On the weekly chart, I'm looking for support at 319 to 315. Let's go to the daily chart and look at what's going on. Tesla has been in an uptrend since the middle of April. And now, really, it's just chopping in this area. But I know that Tesla is down over 2% today, which means that on when today's candle opens, it's going to be below this chop level. Well, below the chop level is a trigger short. And again, my immediate support is going to come in at that level that we talked about on the weekly chart near 319. Okay, so now let's look at the 4-hour chart. Tesla has broken down below the bull channel. This is a sign that there could be further downside on this name, all the way down to 308.18. So I know I have that immediate support around 320 to 315, but Tesla could be seeking out the golden fib level of 318, or sorry, 308. So I need to know that and pay attention to that. On the 2-hour chart, Tesla is setting right at my area of support here. 322.40 by 311.05. Now, everything that I've talked about, Tesla is underperforming the market, but it does have support right about where price is at. I can play this name to the downside and then turn around and reverse it based on those higher time frame charts if it gets down near that 618 Fibonacci level. That would be a good place to go long for a swing trade. So let's talk about a day trade setup on Tesla. Right now, the trigger long is 324.20. Above that level, I'm looking for my most immediate resistance here at or around 325 to 326, right about where price is at. The best case scenario would be that Tesla on the opening bell opens up somewhere up here, giving me an opportunity to go short and playing it down to my target. So we will see what happens on the opening bell. But as far as upside targets go, 326.80, 329.36, then I would be looking for 334, 338, all the way up to the ultimate target of 334.70, or sorry, 344.79 by 355.31. This downside target here, if I get the opportunity to go short Tesla, and I want to play it down inside of my green zone target, my first trim would be 322.40. Then my next trim would be 319.23. Then I need to look over to the left to find some candle structure inside of this zone. So if I scroll over to the left when this candle formation was created, I can see here that my next level to trim at is going to be about 315. So that gives me some trims inside of my target zone if I play this to the downside. First target 322.40, 319.23, 315.30, and then finally 311.50. So that gives you the three names that I am going to focus on for day trades today. I'd like to mention, though, that Tesla, if the contracts are too expensive for you to trade in your account, you can always trade the leveraged ETF, which is very, very affordable for any size account. If you're trading the leveraged ETF on Tesla, that is TSLL, I will tell you that my target zone below is 1262 by 1009 with some areas of potential support at 1181 and 1064. All right, I hope y'all have a great day trading today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.